The movie might have been quiet, but this review won't be. Hey yo, what's good? Welcome to The Gist. With me, Jared. A Quiet Place, Day 1. As indicated in the title, this movie is a prequel to 2018's A Quiet Place. From the first trailer of this prequel film, I was hooked. I was very curious to see how the alien apocalypse depicted in A Quiet Place had started. Even more so, to see how the events played out in the city that never sleeps. To start off my spoiler-free review, I really enjoyed A Quiet Place Day 1. The story is a bit of a slow burn, but it is self-contained. You don't need to have seen the other two films to understand what's going on. The first 10 or so minutes introduce us to Lupita Nyong'o's main character of Sam, a woman dying of cancer. Thankfully, the alien monsters are introduced early in the film, and we get to see them quite often. The sound design is a definite strength of the movie to be noted, and seemed very intentional. You could hear all the background noise of the environment. It helped make the movie more immersive and heighten the tension for the audience, because the slightest bit of sound can have disastrous consequences for our characters. And because the movie was so tense, I was in anticipation for all the potential jump scares. Although, to be honest, even my heightened, alerted, and attentive state still didn't save me from jolting in my seat. The movie got me good quite a few times. I also really liked the big cinematic and sprawling shots we got of the environment. Seeing a decimated New York City helped set the ominous and hopeless tone. And yet, despite the seemingly insurmountable odds of survival for our characters, I was quite drawn to the survivors. Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn in particular. Though the character aspect of the film was something I thoroughly enjoyed, I will admit it's not going to be for everybody. I do believe that the trailers are a bit misleading in that the audience is led to believe that this is a human versus aliens survival story. Even though the survival elements are true, the aliens aren't an overt antagonist to the characters, but rather are obstacles to their end goals and plot devices used to elicit fear and thrill for the audience. The story was more about how to spend your final days living rather than fighting to stay alive. And that's likely where one's pleasure with this movie will lie. If you wanted to see the humans try to silently survive, fight the aliens, and maybe come out on top, you do get some of that, but it's not really the focal point of the movie. Rather, the beauty in this thrilling horror film relies in its characters. I was not expecting to have a touching and emotional angle with Lupita Nyong'o's character. I loved that once it became clear that the world she once knew was ending, her only motivation was to make her final days ones that she could enjoy. She's already got cancer, so her imminent and inevitable death is a potent reality that she's already faced and come to grips with. So to seek out a few things to make her final days, at the least, less dismal than what she's been experiencing for the past few years was a surprisingly compelling and deep part of the narrative. I also liked how Eric was made out to be a guy kind of fighting to survive, though quite hopeless in that the world was ending, but also just really didn't want to die alone. That was also a touching aspect of the story. And then by the end of the film, he's more willing to fight to survive and stay alive, spurred on by Sam's sacrifice. Again, I really enjoyed the character aspect of the film, but do acknowledge that it'll be make or break for most folks. And that's the gist to my review for A Quiet Place Day 1. I really enjoyed this movie. Even though it's a slower burn, I didn't feel any of the narrative elements dragged for me, and the fact that it's a tight 100-minute film helped all the more. The creation of tension and suspense is a clear strength of this movie. But the overall story being told will be the deciding factor if you like or don't like this movie. What did you think of A Quiet Place Day 1? Was this a worthwhile prequel, or would you have rather seen a different story depicted? Hit me up! Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you next time on The Gist.